how the scope should be written. First, what is the purpose of that audit? Give the information of that. Give the details about the organization. Okay. Cover the boundaries where you are going to do the audit. That will be your scope statement. Either it can be a part of the organization, either it can be the whole organization. Then give a justification why you want to cover the whole part of the organization. Give a justification for that. Then define the boundary. Okay, so you can define the physical boundary, you can define the technical boundary, you can define the operational boundary. Okay, and who all parties have also been involved in that audit. Okay, make a list of it. Is there any product or service which is also coming under or falling under to that audit or that ISMS? Make a list of that as well. So like this, I will be covering each and everything which will become a part of your audit. Okay, so once our documentation has been done, once your documentation has been written, it will be sent for the approval to your management. Okay, now once the management approves this document, after that what we are going to do, we are going to assign roles and responsibility to the auditor. So there will be a lead auditor, one lead auditor who will be your manager. Okay, what the roles and responsibility of the manager? So that manager or that lead auditor is going to plan the audit, make sure the report has been written in a clear and non-technical manner. Okay, auditor, make sure your objective is been fulfilled. Apart from that, there will be other auditors who will be conducting interviews, who will be collecting the evidence by assessing or by looking or by testing the control. Okay, if required, you can have a technical expert as well who is going to assist you for that technology. Okay, and there will be an observer and a note taker as well separately if required. Okay, who is going to record or make a note what is the current status of your audit, and that report will be sent to the management. Okay, now once the roles and responsibilities have been defined, we will be assigning, or you can say we will be checking for the competence of the auditor. Okay, so you will be making the list of the auditors, then you are going to assign the roles and responsibility day wise. We will be creating a schedule for that audit. Okay, audit is for 3 days. June 16, we will be investigating, we will be looking for the interviews, we will be looking into the visitor log, and this role or this task has been assigned to the Rahul, that the name of the auditor. Okay, and which department he is going to audit? HR department and admin department. Okay, then we have the next day. Okay, next day, Priya is going to look into the development department. Specifically, Priya is going to look into the source code, SDLC policies. Okay, so like this, you can make a list. Okay, now once the schedule has been defined, once the schedule has been prepared, this schedule will be sent, or you can say this schedule will be discussed in the opening meet, the first day. Okay, this opening meet will be between the management and auditor, and your team leader will going to start or initiate this meeting. Okay, so first welcome and introduction has been given, then the attendance list will be filled, then the discussion about the audit, why we require this audit to be done, that purpose will be discussed, then the discussion on the scope. Okay, then the discussion on the process, how the audit will be conducted, that will be discussed. Then we will be confirming about the interviews. Okay, we have scheduled an interview on third day, on second day. Are you available on that XYZ day? Okay, so once the confirmation has been done, then we look into the logistic, into the ground rules as well, any approval or XYZ things required for the auditor, any document required to be assisted. Okay, so you can make a request for that, and further the question answered. Okay, question will be asked from the auditor and answer will be given by the auditee, or same goes vice versa as well. Okay, then we sign off for that meeting and we start the audit. Okay, so till here, and one more thing we have discussed about the first phase of the audit, that is your evidence collection. Okay, so from every department, I have mentioned some specific control. Okay, I have picked one control and we have reviewed that control. Okay, and what question you are going to ask, what things you are going to check related to that control. So we have looked into this as well. For HR specifically, I'm targeting control number 6.3 regarding information security awareness, education and training. Okay, what is the purpose? To verify onboard and ongoing training programs. So we looked into that charter, we looked into that documentation. Okay, we looked into other supporting evidence as well, whether this organization is maintaining the security awareness training. Okay, when the training is been conducted, what are the logs they have collected, how they have evaluated after the training. Okay, so like this, we started collecting the information. Specifically, we have looked into the department, IT department as well. And IT department, I targeted control number 8.10, which is talking on disposal of information. So here we are validating secure disposal of data bearing assets as well. Okay, so like this, specifically, we looked into different controls, okay, and started looking for the evidence for that control. Okay. Today, we are going to talk about the risk assessment process and the methodology. How the risk assessment has been done, what type of a methodology you are going to conduct, and how the report will be created. Okay. So this will be the agenda for the day. Now, let's understand the risk assessment methodology. So what I have done, I have chosen the qualitative approach. Okay, now this qualitative approach will going to give you a very good understanding without needing any piercing numeric number as well. So instead of very complex calculation, what we are doing, we are simply going into the subjective judgment, or you can say descriptive scales. Okay, so this method is particularly useful to prioritize the risk and to make some better decision. So we can focus on the mitigation techniques. Okay, so what do we have? What I have prepared over here, I have created a list. First, the criteria we have set. Okay. So likelihood criteria, impact criteria, and risk level criteria. Okay. Based on this likelihood and impact, we are going to calculate the risk level. We will get the risk level. Okay. How to calculate the score? Likelihood into impact. This is the formula. You can make a note of this. Okay. To calculate the risk, we simply go with the formula likelihood into impact. Okay. So how I have decided, how I've scaled this likelihood and impact. Let's look into this. So one is rare. Rare means what? This means the event is very rare, or you can say that the event may happen once in a blue moon. Okay, so we will keep it as an one, rare. Likelihood will be rare. Okay, if ever the event has been happening, if ever the event has been happening once in a blue moon. Okay, so for that we will keep it as an one. Then we have a unlikely. Okay. Now for this, we will be considering that the event isn't expected to happen. Okay. But we are not keeping it out. We are not, we will, it's not like that. We are not going to question it. So we will keep unlikely. Then we will go for an possibly. When we will, can go with an possible, if the event is having a reasonable chance to occur. Okay, so at that time, you can consider it as an possible 3. Likelihood will be 3. It may happen. Possibility are less, but we are not going to ignore it. Then we have the likely one. Okay. What the likely one has been saying, that event will happen. Okay, so what we are going to do, we should anticipate it. Okay, we are going to consider it. The possibilities are 50-50. Okay, over here, the possibilities, let's say it's 20%. Okay, so it's not like that we are going to ignore it. We will be considering it, but the possibilities are less. In likely, the possibilities are 50-50. Okay, it may happen. And then we have the very likely. Okay, the event is almost certain or almost occurred. You can expect that event to occur. So we will be consider it as an very likely at that time. Okay. So this scale allow you to assign the consistent, or you can say the chances of the score to identify the risk. Okay. Then we have the impact criteria. Now what the impact criteria has been saying, negligible, minor, moderate, major, or critical. Okay. Negligible means the consequences are minimal. Okay. But we are not saying that we are not going to notice it. We will be noticing it. But the consequences are very minimal. So at that time, we will keep it as a negligible. Okay. Then we have the minor. The minor means uh, the consequences are there, but the effect is very negative, very small. You can say like that. Okay, so there will be some noticeable event, very small, okay, or you can say very negative effects. Okay, then we have the moderate one. Moderate means there is a possibility again. The consequences are very much significant. Okay, there is an we can say there is a possibility that some service may disrupt it. Okay, some service may get harmed. Okay, the possibility is you can say is bit we can say up to 20%. Okay, then we have the major. Okay, now if the impact is major, then what will happen? This will going to impact onto your service. The service will be disrupted. Okay, you can face a significant financial loss. There will be a serious damages. Okay, so at that point of time, we will keep it as a major. The impact will be major. And last one is the critical. Okay, highly possible. Okay, if this happened, if the impact is critical, this is going to impact my business. This is going to impact, or you can say this is going to impact my server, services, or any compliance as well. Okay, so for any existing threat, we will keep it as in critical. Okay, so your impact scale, what we are measuring the severity of the consequences. Okay, so if the risk event actually happens, what we are going to say? If the risk happened, what type of risk it is? Negligible, minor, moderate, major, or critical. We will keep that score. Okay, and then we will be calculating the risk score. Once we have the likelihood and impact, then you are going to calculate the risk score. How? Simple, use the formula. Multiply the likelihood with the impact. Okay, so this is the standard formula which we use it to calculate the, we can say this risk. Now let me give you one very quick example. Okay, let's say if the risk is likely. So for likely, the score is 4. Okay, and the impact is major. What is the score for an impact? Major 4. Okay, now what risk value we will be getting? 4 into 4, that will be your 16. So this is my risk level. Where it has been coming? High. Okay. If the risk is unlikely, let's say risk is unlikely, but impact is critical. What will be my risk level? 2 into 5. Okay. So what I'm getting? 10. It's sitting under 2 and again high. Okay. So like this, I will be calculating the risk score. So what I have on the right hand side, I have the level of the risk. How you are going to keep the risk level. From 1 to 4, we will be keeping it as a low. The range is, you can say, for this range, we accept the risk, we consider it, okay, because it is not going to damage my reputation, my business. The impact is very minimal. Okay, so we will be monitoring that risk. So we will keep it as a low from range of an 1 to 4. So I kept it as a low. Medium, the range has been sitting between 5 to 9. Okay, so this risk need attention. So we will be considering it. You can say there is an minimal impact for this risk. Okay, but we cannot ignore it. So we will keep it as a medium. Okay, then we have the high. These are the most, you can say, the significant one. So the risk is significant. It can be and dangerous at some point of time. Okay, so we require a mitigation for that. We require a mitigation plan for that. We are not going to ignore this problem. Okay, if you are getting the value or score as an high, then we have the critical. Now this is the most severe risk. Okay, this require an immediate effect, or you can say immediate fixes. Okay, we also call it as a robust mitigation strategies. Okay, we go with a robust mitigation strategies, immediately work on that risk. Okay, so like this, we have kept the categorization. Okay, so it's up to you what categorization you are using. You are using the 5 by 5 matrix or using 3 by 3 matrix. It's up to you. Okay, so over here I'm using the 5 by 5 matrix. Okay, keeping it from the range of an 1 to 5. Likelihood, is rare, unlikely, possible, likely, and unlikely. Impact is negligible, minor, moderate, major, critical. And based on that, we are keeping the risk level as well. Low, medium, high, and critical. Okay. Now, what I have done, I have defined a risk assessment methodology over here. That I'm using the 5 by 5 matrix. I have given the criteria now. Now, once my criteria has been set, okay. Now, once my criteria has been set, now I can start with the assessment. Okay, basic things have been done now. Okay, checks have been done. Okay, so I have created a very good framework over here. Okay, now based on this framework, based on this methodology, I will be doing an assessment. Now, how to do that assessment, that risk assessment? So, what I have done, I have created a list over here. Okay, so first thing, as I said, we are simply following the qualitative risk assessment methodology. Okay, so first I need to identify what are the assets which have been used inside that organization, which are the critical asset, which are the valuable things for that organization, which could impact. Okay, if there's any risk associated with that asset, that is going to impact the organization. So what I have done, first I am going to identify those critical assets. Okay, so we are going to make a column. We are going to make a list of the specific data. Okay, so for the organization, we have kept some of the list of the asset. If you can see on the left hand side, so what my asset inventories have been saying, first one is the client data. Okay, so my asset is client data. Okay, so this represent what? This represent the information which is related to your client, which is related to the project you are working on. Okay, so definitely it will be sitting into the high sensitivity due to some contractual obligation, due to some intellectual properties or some personal information. Okay, so we will be considering it. Then we have the employee data. Now this includes what? Employee data means the personal information of your employees, of your staff, of your payroll details, of your contact information. Okay, performance review, health record, all the things will be coming under to your employee data. Okay, and legally we have to protect it because it's a high sensitive data. Then we have the source code repositories. Now, what will be there into the source code repositories? This is a core intellectual property. Okay, for many tech companies, this is your core intellectual property because if it has been compromised, this is going to impact a lot. There will be a huge loss for the organization. It can be a competitive disadvantage for that organization. There will be a loss into the product as well because product will be defected. Okay, your security will be breached. So that's why we kept at source code repositories as well. Okay, then we have the email servers. Okay, now this is again a critical. Why? Because it's a communication channel. It's need to be make sure that it is available. It is confidentiality should be maintained, integrity should be maintained, and availability should be maintained for this. Okay, so your availability and integrity plays an important role. It's essential for your daily operation because the data is been traveling from that network from one source to another source, and that data need to be secured because it contains some sensitive information. Okay, then we have the laptops, the devices, end user devices. Okay, so what we keep in the laptop? Copies. We are storing the local copies of your data. Okay, there will be an access company. You can say it's an access company systems as well. There will be some you can say some important files as well. We will be keeping it. Okay, then we have the internal CRM systems. Okay, a system which is used to manage some you can say customer relationship. There will be the information which has been you can say the client information will be seen into this application. Okay, so I have created a list of the asset. Okay, and based on that, I had made one more list, the owner of that asset. Okay, because we should know who is the owner of that asset, who is going to maintain or whose responsibility is to maintain the security for that asset. Okay, so I have made, or you can say we have identified the you can say the primary responsibilities of the assets, who is accountable, who is decision maker, who is having the you can say undertake authority for an collaboration. Okay. So for that, we have given the owner details as well. So for client data, you can say dev manager. For employee detail, HR manager. For source code repositories, there will be a DevOps lead who is going to maintain it. Email servers, IT manager, laptop, IT department, or you can say the asset department. And then we have the internal CRM system, which is managed by your sales head. Okay. So once I have created the list of an owner, then where this information has been stored, the location. Okay. So we have created a list of the location as well. Specific location, the asset has been residing where? Is it been hosted where? The location of that asset. Okay. So first is your cloud storage. We are using the AWS services, which is can say managed by the third party cloud provider. Okay. What security has been involved? We will be checking that separately. Okay. No need to worry. Then we have the employee data where it has been stored. The employee data, this has been stored into on-premises, into the HRMS or into a cloud. Okay, depending onto the organization where it has been stored, either into the cloud, either into the on-prem. Okay, then we have the source code. This has been stored into the GitHub repositories or into the Bitbucket. Okay, so another we are using a third party over here. Then we have the email server hosted onto the Microsoft 365, a popular SaaS platform for the email. Okay, security, moreover, heavily we can say relies on your Microsoft. Okay, they make sure the security is being measured. They make sure the features are being given. We have an MFA, we have an anti-phishing techniques with that. Then the laptops. Okay, these are your physical devices. And who makes sure this? The physical devices is been given by your consent by the IT department. Okay, so there is a possibility for the you can say for the theft, for the loss, or you can say the physical tampering for the devices. So make sure you are having a good security protection for that devices too. Then we have the internal CRM system, SaaS platform. Again, we are relying on to the third party, similar to your Microsoft 365. Okay. So we have created the list. Okay. The asset. What is the asset? First is the client data, owned by, managed by, day manager. Location is your cloud storage. Now we will be filling this classification. Okay. So classification is the criteria. So we can eliminate the risk, or you can say you can complete the risk assessment. Okay. Now let's fill this. So client data should be confidential. No one can have an access. Only the limited user, or you can say limited people should have an access to this data. Then the employee detail, again, it will be confidential. Only the HR is going to manage this. Apart from that, no other should have an access to this data. Source code, we will keep it as unrestricted. Okay, so like this, I will be filling the classification type as well for that asset. For email server, this will be used internally. So I will be keeping it as an internal use by everyone. Okay, internally we are using it and this will be used by everyone. Again, this laptop will be owned by everyone. We will be keeping it only for the internal use. Okay, last is your CRM. Okay, again, for CRM, who is going to have an access to this? There will be limited person, limited access. Okay, so we will be keeping it as restricted. Okay, only the sales department is going to handle the CRM portal. Apart from that, no one is going to handle it. Okay, so like this, we have prepared a classification for each and every asset. Okay. Okay. Now, once I have identified the assets which we are going to evaluate further, we had made the list. We have classified the data as well. We have classified that assets as well. Further, what I'm going to do the next? What will be my next stage? My next stage will be to identify threat and vulnerability related to those assets. Okay. So next I am going to identify what will be the threat, what will be the vulnerability associated with this assets. Okay. Now threat is what? Threat is some potential cause or any unwanted incident that may result to harm your system or to your organization. That can be an internal, that can be an external as well. Okay. So that is what and set. Vulnerability is what? Very simple. It's a weakness into your asset. Okay, so vulnerability is a weakness into the assets. Vulnerability are the gaps or the flaws that allow the threat to cause, or you can say to harm those assets. That is what a vulnerability is. Okay, so we need to identify the threat and vulnerability associated with that asset. Okay, so let's do that now. So for in client data, okay, so for in client data, the threat I have kept is a ransomware attack. Okay, a malicious software encrypted, or you can say encrypt data, or you can say demands for the ransom if it has been released. So there is a high possibility for that. Okay, and how this threat has happened, how this threat got matured, lack of endpoint protection. Okay, like your antivirus, anti-malware, host intrusion prevention. Okay, how it has been designed, whether they are not detecting any malicious activity. So it is going to impact the client data through which the ransomware attack can be performed. Okay, so we will be making a list of the threat and vulnerability related to that asset. Okay, so lack of an endpoint protection for an employee data. There is a possibility insider misuse. Okay, so what will be the vulnerability over here? No user, or you can say you can say no employee behavior monitoring or no user behavior monitoring. Okay, so what we are going to monitor? The authorization of the user, contractor, or your former employees. So we will be checking that whether that user is having the, we can say, having the right access, whether the user is not misusing misusing any particular access. What is the sensitivity of the data is, what is the unauthorized purpose is. Okay, so you can say that person can sell the data, that person can say accidentally expose the details as well. Okay, so there is n number of n possibility. So for that we go with the monitoring, internal monitoring. Okay, so this has been done. So if the no monitoring has been done, there is a possibility that employee data may be leaked due to an insider misuse, insider threat. We call it as an insider threat. Okay, then we have the source code. For source code, what will become a threat? Unauthorized access. Okay, so how this unauthorized access got matured? Due to an insecure get credentials. It has been stored into the GitHub. So someone got the credential due to which there is an unauthorized access. Okay, privilege escalation has been done. So we will keep it as an insecure get credentials. What if I'm using not keeping not going with an good password policies? Okay. Email server possibilities, often phishing or often spoofing. How this will happen? Due to lack of DMARC, due to lack of 𝐀𝐮𝐝 policies. Okay, everything has been allowed in the email. Everyone can send an email. Okay, so what will happen? Phishing attack may happen. Lack of DMARC or 𝐷KIM policies. Okay. For a laptop, there is a possibility of a theft or a loss. Okay. What if the laptop has been lost? What if the laptop has been theft? Okay. Someone stole the laptop. What will happen? Okay. Whatever data is there in that laptop will be exposed, will be used by that thief. Okay. If the disk or if the data is not been encrypted, there is a high possibility the data will be available on the open net, or you can say in the open environment very soon. No full disk encryption. Okay. CRM hosted into the third party. What if there is a data breach via third party application? How will this will happen? How will this get matured? If the API security configuration is weak into the third party, definitely there will be a data breach happen to a third party, which has been installed by that by the user. Okay, what if I'm installing that application from an outsourced environment? Again, there is no testing has been done. Okay, so like this, we will be creating a list, okay, of the threat and vulnerability. What will be a common threat to that asset? Okay, what do you feel so will become a threat to that asset? What will become then what will become a vulnerability to that asset? So we will be making a list of that. So identify the threat and vulnerability associated with that asset. Okay, so what I'm trying to get over here, I'm simply trying to get a foundation of a risk assessment. So this table is directly going to inform, like I say, is going to help you to analyze the risk provided by the specific scenarios. Okay, so by identifying the specific vulnerability, you can exactly know what need to be fixed, what need to be improved. So let's implement the DCAM policy. Let's implement the DMARC policies. Okay, there is a specific threat and vulnerability related to that. Okay, so let's go with the full disk encryption. So if you see, if you are using any office laptop, so most of the time our data is getting encrypted. Okay, personally, if you are using it for personal base as well, we generally can say if you want to store that information and want to keep that information very much private, so we can simply go with an BitLocker. You can encrypt the data. Okay, so understand the specific threat and vulnerability. This is going to help you to prioritize where to be invested. Okay, which security need to be looked into the which security to be put. Okay, which control to be put over there. What resources you are going to invest over there. Okay, so it generally focusing onto the structure, onto the thinking process of the auditor. You can say of the stakeholders as well. So there are various way to do the, you can say to conduct the assessment. It's depend on to you what type of an assessment you are performing, whether you are going with an asset base or whether you are going with an specifically, you can say this. As of now, we are simply going with uh, qualitative one. You can go with an quantitative as well. Okay, so it's depending on to the auditor to auditor what type of an methodology they have been choosing. Okay, so there is no, you can say, foundation for that. So we are simply going with a qualitative, which is going to give me a good understanding. You can say a step-by-step approach to conduct or can to understand what will be the level of risk. Okay. Now, once I've identified the threat and vulnerability, we had made the list of it. So first what we did, we have made a list of the asset, which you feel so is very important for that organization, for that business to run. So let's make a list of that assets. Okay. So once the assets list has been done, we will be making a category of the threat and vulnerability which can impact on that asset. Okay, so you are going to identify what is a threat, what is a vulnerability associated with that asset. We are going to test that asset. Okay, now once that asset has been tested, further what I am going to do, the next part, next thing I am going to make a matrix. We call it as a risk evaluation matrix. Okay, so make a list of the asset, make a list of an asset, then likelihood and impact. Based on this, we will calculate the risk score and this will give you the risk level as well. Okay, so as we already created the risk score, the risk level, we call it as a methodology over there we have created. Now it's time to get that information to be listed in this our matrix. Okay, so asset is your client data. Threat is a ransomware. Okay, so we have very high chances of a ransomware attack to be performed, to be done. So what we have done, we have kept the likelihood as an 4. Okay, so it's unlikely. You're perceiving that there is high chances of a ransomware attack that will happen, which is giving the vulnerability, lack of an endpoint protection. The impact is what? Impact will be very much serious. So what we kept it as in 5. Okay, so this place is firmly very much critical. So this is sitting onto my top priority risk, or can say the top priority level, which requires very immediate and aggressive mitigation. Okay, what will happen if the data of the client data will be exposed? So there is a high chances that my reputation will be impacted. There will be a legal issue. There will be a severe, I can say, financial penalties as well. Okay, so I don't want to go in that direction. So let's fix this problem as soon as possible. Okay, so what score I'm getting? How to calculate the risk? Likelihood into impact, 4 into 5. So I'm getting 20. Okay, so what will be my risk level? It will be critical. Okay. Employee data. What wasn't set for the employee data? Insider misuse. Okay. So what is the chances that insider misuse may happen? What will be the chances there is an internal threat there? So I am keeping it as an possible 3. Okay. So you believe the insider misuse is a possible event, especially with no user behavior monitoring. There is a possibility. Impact will be major. Okay, so this affect the employee data misuse. For example, identity theft, privacy violation, or any legal liabilities as well. So we will be considering it as unsustainable. Okay. Now, what risk level, risk score I'm getting? 3 into 4, it's an 12. Okay, so what will be my risk level? Okay, so this falls under to an high risk. So we should prioritize the implementation of user behavior monitoring. We are going to strengthen the internal control to prevent and detect this. Okay. Then we have the source code. What is a threat to the source code? Unauthorized access. Okay. So your asset is highly probable, or there is a high probability of an unauthorized access due to insecure get credential. So we will be keeping it as an 4 likely. What will be the impact? Again, the impact will be major. There will be a compromise of your source code that can lead to some, can say some significant intellectual property loss, that can lead to some competitive disadvantage, that can lead to some, can say potential backdoor for that product. Okay, so the impact will be major. So what I'm getting the score? I'm getting the score as in 16. Okay, so this comes under to an critical. Okay, so this is another critical risk. Protect your intellectual property, especially your source code. Okay, address insecure credential. So this requires an urgent fix. Okay, this task to be considered first. Okay, next is your email server. So for email server, what is in set? Set is in phishing. Okay, so what is in possibility? So possibility of in phishing attempts is quite common. Okay, so making it as a possible threat. So we will be keeping it as an C. Impact will be moderate. So when phishing attack lead, uh, okay, so there is a possibility that phishing attack can lead to some a major incident. So it is not directly, can say generally it is not directly impacting onto the server. So the often this impact will be moderate. Okay. So when a successful you can say phishing attack can lead to a certain higher impact as well further. Okay. So for example, the account is getting compromised. There is a further data breach. Okay. There is further effect onto your servers. Okay. So 3 into 3, I'm getting the risk score as a 9. Okay. So for risk score 9, what will be my risk level? Help me with this. Critical, high, medium, low, medium. So this is in medium risk, while no critical ongoing phishing attacks are can say are presented considering as a persistent threat. Okay, your productivity will get hampered. There will be some you can say some more severe breaches. So let's implement DMARC DKIM policies with significant which further going to significantly reduce such kind of an spoofing or phishing attacks. Okay. Laptop threat is theft or loss. Okay. So your assets, like your individual laptop, there is a possibility of an theft. There is a possibilities of a loss as well, but not frequently. It may happen. So we will keep it as an unlikely too. Okay. But the data which is there inside that laptop, however, the laptop contains some unencrypted information. the data. If it has been lost, if it has been stolen, that is going to impact a lot. There will be a data breach. There will be an exposure to your sensitive data. Okay, so we are considering the impact as an 4. Okay, major. What is my risk score now? 8. Okay, so it is coming under to an medium. Okay, so what patches or what can say what security we are going to place it over here? Full disk encryption, relatively straightforward control. Okay, which is going to reduce the risk, possibility of the risk. Then we have the CRM system, API bridge. Okay, so you can consider the API bridge via third-party application to be possible event. Okay, so we will keep it as an possible 3. What if this risk get matured? The impact will be very serious. Okay, so given the sensitivity of the nature, the customer data which is stored in that CRM, and that has been breached via can say weak API configuration by the third party. So definitely that is going to impact a lot in my business. Okay, so what's the score I'm getting? I'm getting it as an 15, 3 into 5. It's an 15, so coming under 2 and high. Okay, so it's an possible event. So this pulls to an high risk level. While not critical, it can be it is focusing onto the significant. Again, we are going to give an attention over here. Okay, we will try to review the hardening of an API security of all the third party integrated or you can say associated with that organization, and we will try to fix that problem. Okay. Now, once I have created this matrix, so I have evaluated the risk associated with that asset. So I'm getting a reasonable score over here. Okay. Now you know, okay, which asset required more attention. And I also got an information, a fair information that which control has been missing in that. Okay, so we can give an suggestion. So as an auditor, I will be creating a treatment plan as well further. Now I know what is the problem. So let me help with the treatment plan for that organization. Okay, so I have the information about the risk associated with that asset. I know which, or you can say what are the labs over here. So let me help with the, we can say the treatment plan as well. Okay. Now, once we are done with the evaluation of the matrix, then we will be moving into the treatment plan. Okay. So for this risk treatment plan, what I have created a list of a risk description, level, treatment option, which control we can apply over there, and who will be the responsible person. Okay. So what I'm going to refer, I'm going to refer the ISMS manual. Okay. Under to that ISMS manual, what do we have? We have the annexure A. What is this annexure A? Giving you the list of 93 controls. Okay. So from that 93 control, we are going to apply, which will be relatable to that specific, can say for the treatment option. Okay. Now, as I said, you can refer the ISMS manual over here. So the risk description has been saying ransomware or client data. Okay. Risk level, it's a critical one. This need to be mitigated as soon as possible. Now, how you are going to mitigate this ransomware or client data? Do we have any control related to this? Yes, we do have. Control number A8.20. Talking on your malware protection. Okay, so if you refer the ISMS manual, control number A8.20, it's been talking about the malware protection. Apart from that, we have one more. We can have one more control over here. Sorry. Okay, so I can have the control. This is the new update in your 2022 talking on incident response. Okay, so I can have a 5.25 talking on incident response. So I can put this control as well. Okay. So these are the recommendations from my end. First, malware protection A 8.20. Then go with the incident response plan. So if there is any incident, you can straight away mitigate that incident. You can look into that. You can give an attention, attention to that incident. But we should have a plan for that. Okay, who is going to respond to that incident, when that incident to be treated, when that incident need to be solved. So we have a complete plan for that, and we have a dedicated team for that as well. We call it as an IR team, some call it as an CERT team, some call it as an uh, uh, different, you can say, incident response team. Okay, so you have different name for that. Then we have unauthorized access source code. This is again giving you the risk level isn't critical. This need to be mitigated as soon as possible. So is there any control associated with the source code? Yes, we do have. Okay. So there is a control which has been talking on secure the source codes. We call it as in secure coding. That control number is A8.28. Secure coding. Then we have one more control talking on identity management, AA5.16. We can apply this control as well. Okay, so this is my recommendation. Okay, to mitigate this unauthorized access of the source code, we can put up and control talking on that source code, which is your secure coding. Go with the secure coding. Apart from that, go with that identity management as well. Only the authorized person can have an access to that source code. Apart from that, no one can have an access to it. Restriction to be given. You can have an RBAC policy over here. Okay. Then we have the insider misuse of an employee data. Risk level is high. Again, we are going to mitigate this. So what you are going to, what control you are going to put it over here? So first of all, I will be going with the background check. We call it as in screening, A6.1. Okay, go with the background check of each and every employee. Okay, consider 5.5 as well, 1.5 as well, which is talking on access control. Okay, go with 5.18 as well, access right. Apart from that, lastly, go with the monitoring activities. We call it as a control number A1.6. Okay, monitoring all the activities of the user, of the employees. Okay, so you can apply such controls to mitigate insider misuse employee data. Okay, so you can identify who is the insider threat with this applicable control. You're monitoring all the activities of each and every employee on a regular basis. There are the tracks which has been kept. Okay, the logs which has been collected, and that will be further evaluated or analyzed. Okay, then we have the CRM API breaches. This will is considered as an high. Again, we are going to mitigate this. Now, how we are going to mitigate this? So same control source code A8.28 is going to help you over here. Okay, there is a specific control talking on application security requirement. You can apply that control as well. A8.27. Okay, we have the access control A5.15. Okay, you can go with the encryption over here. The best thing. Okay, to encrypt the data, you can go with cryptography. So we have a specific control talking on cryptography, that is your A8.24. Okay, so this is again my recommendation. To mitigate the CRM API breach, you can have, first of all, have a secure coding. In the application, you can have an application security. You can meet up to the application security requirement, which is given under to 8.27. Okay, you can have an access control. You can have you can use the encryption as well over here. Okay, you can go with the cryptography for encrypting all the data. So again, this is a recommendation to mitigate the CRM API breach. Okay, so what if there is an email phishing? Okay, so this is sitting under to a medium. We are going to mitigate this as well. How? Do we have any applicable control for that? Yes. The best thing, you can go with the awareness. Okay, if you adopt 27001, it becomes mandatory to give an awareness session to each and every employee regarding this cyber security, regarding to the phishing, all those things. Okay, so we have a control, dedicated control called talking on information security awareness, A6.3, coming under to the people control. Okay, educate and train, give and security awareness to all the employees. Okay, you can potentially apply 8.20 as well, malware protection. Okay, so you can have such control to mitigate email phishing, laptop theft. Okay, setting under to and medium, we are going to mitigate this as well. So is there any control? Yes. If the laptop has been thread, the data is there. So now make sure the data which has been stored, it has been encrypted one. So no one can read that data. No one can do a modification to that data if my laptop has been stolen. So you can go with an encryption A8.24. Okay. Not only that, I can go with 7.8 unaltered endpoint devices. Okay. You can have 7.1 as well. Physical security parameter. So no one can breach inside my building and loot that laptop because that device has been used only inside my premises. We don't have any work from home policy. No one is going to carry that laptop at home. If you are using the devices at specifically into that premises, make sure that premises has also been secured. So no one can come inside that premises. So for that, we have the security parameters, physical security parameter. So this is again my general reference, which control you are going to apply to mitigate the problem. And who will be the responsible person? You can make a, or you can say you can list down as well. Okay, who is going to undertake and make sure that this control has been applied in that area. Okay, for the ransomware and client data, the control is being suggested. Now this is the responsibility has been taken by the IT manager. They make sure this. Okay, so DevOps lead is going to make sure that control number 8.28 and 5.16 has been done. Secure coding and identity management has been done. Okay, for insider misuse, HR manager, they make sure the training has been given. They make sure the you can say background verification has been done. They make sure the monitoring activities have been happening. Okay, for CRM, IT manager. Okay, again for email phishing, IT manager make sure they have a dedicated, you can say, the malware protection in place, and there is a training also been given on a regular basis to all the employees. Okay, laptop IT support lead or admin team. Okay, whoever there dedicated team is there inside that organization. There can be a different name as well for this. Okay, so this control has been mapped directly with ISO 27001 2022. I am referring the 2022. Again, I'm saying I am referring the latest one. If you refer the old one, there will be a change into this control number. Okay, so I'm simply using the latest one 2022 version, which is helping me to apply this dedicated control over there. And actually referring me, giving me a reference of the updated controls. Okay, there is a new introduction as well into the control. There are some controls which have been merged as well. Previously, we are having 114 controls. Now we are having only 93 controls. Okay, so some of the controls have been merged. Some of the controls have been newly introduced. Almost 11 new controls have been introduced. Okay, now once you have determined or can say made a plan for the treatment. Okay, so it's not your duty to you can say to put that control. So there will be a dedicated team, or you can say that responsible person who is going to make sure that this control has been applied. Okay, so you can document this under to and risk register. We can maintain the risk register as well. Okay, it's because each risk entry should be there. So ISMS risk register to be maintained separately. You can keep that document. Okay, so in that document, what information you can keep? Okay, I'm just giving you a basic information for ISMS risk register. Okay, so first of all, the asset name. Okay, second, what is the threat or vulnerability for that asset? What is the existing control? Okay, next you can keep likelihood and impact. Okay, what is the risk score? Okay, or level. Who is the owner? Owner name, treatment plan. Okay, deadline when this risk need to be treated, and lastly the review date. Okay, so like this you can create the risk register. Okay, so it's again, we can say the basic things which you have to fill it over here. So let me give you an example for this. Let's consider the first one. So it's in client data. Okay, ransomware onto the client data. So asset will be my client data, which is stored in AWS platform. Okay, what is the threat and vulnerability? Ransomware attack. Okay, existing control, whatever the existing control are, let's say basic antivirus, there is a daily cloud backup, there is a multi-factor authentication for admin user. Okay, so like this you can mention what are the existing control. Likelihood and impact, what is the likelihood? 4, impact is 5, critical. Okay, what was the risk score? So I guess we got it as a 20 as in risk score. Who is the owner? IT manager is the owner over here. Okay. Apart from that, what are your treatment plan? Deploy, you can say EDR solution, enforce immaculate backup, okay, conduct phishing drills inside the organization. Whatever the control has been suggested, you can apply those control as well, followed by you are going to give a deadline. So this need to be done as soon as possible. So let's keep the deadline as in July 15. Okay. Review date. The next review will happen on August 1. 2025. Okay, so like this, you can create a risk register for every risk. Okay, that need to be registered under to this document. You can give the full information, what need to be protected, what is the risk level for that, what are the current measures are in place, what is the score as per defined critical risk critical criteria. Okay, what are the possible actions you are going to take, who will be the responsible person. Okay, what are the steps to mitigate or to reduce the risk. Okay, what will be the targeted date for an implementation, and when the risk can say when there will be a reassessment. So like this, all the information to be kept in your risk register. Okay, so I hope you guys got a fair idea about this. So once you determine the treatment plan, make sure you are also registering the risk as well parallelly into your separate document. Okay, so why we maintain this risk register? Anyone have any idea for that? Okay, so you can have a structured record. Okay, so we are simply centralizing the risk tracking. Okay, so it is just giving you a single, I can say single source of truth where all the risk, the status, the treatment plans have been recorded. So you can track asset specific threat and vulnerability. You can prevent the duplicacy as well of overlooking the risk. You can enable some can say visibility of, you can have a good visibility across the different department as well. Okay, so we can simply can say we can simply immediately take the action. What risk is, what action to be required. So your management should have a bird eye view. What is the status of the risk? Okay, what is the improvement? Yes, monitoring and continuous improvement. Great. Okay, so once you determine the risk treatment plan, which is going to help you further to maintain the risk register as well. It is very easy thing to maintain it. Okay, and this is the very common question also which has been asked into the interview. How you are going to maintain the risk register. Okay, how you are going to register the risk. Okay, so like this you can explain to them. Okay, you can give the name of the information, or you can say that we will be creating a complete log for that. Okay, so in that first, the asset name, threat and vulnerability associated with that asset. What are the existing control, likelihood and impact? What are the risk level? Who is the owner, treatment plan, deadline, and review? Okay, so these are the basic things which should be there into your risk register. Okay, so based on this, whatever your final, what will be your final output? Total number of and risk which has been identified. Okay, whatever the number are 1, 2, 3, 4, followed by what are the critical one. There are 2 critical, 3 high, 4 medium, 5 low. So like this, and what are the mitigation plan you have initiated, and based on that, you are going to align it with your 27001 document ISMS risk register. Now, once I have determine the treatment plan. What will be my next step? So what I have done from start, how I have created, how I have done the risk assessment. So first we have set up the methodology. Okay, so which methodology I'm using? I'm simply going with an 5 by 5 matrix. Okay, so I have set up a criteria on the scale of 1 to 5. I have given the impact as well on the scale of an 1 to 5, and based on this, we will be calculating the risk level. Okay, low, medium, high, and critical. Okay, now once the methodology is been selected, now let me do one thing. Let me identify the asset. Okay, so which I will be knowing what are the impact, what will be the consequences if there is any risk associated with that asset. So asset list has been made, owner name, location, and the classification type of that asset. Now once I have this information, further I will be doing what? I will try to identify the risk and vulnerability associated with that asset. I will try to test that asset. I will try to look what are the controls, what are the applicable controls, what are the applicable policies have been aligned with that asset. Okay, so you are going to test that asset. Okay, so we got a possibility there will be a ransomware attack onto the client data. Vulnerability is lack of an encryption protection. There is a lack of endpoint protection, due to which possibility of a ransomware attack will happen. Okay, which is going to impact onto my client data. Okay, so like this, you are going to connect the dot. So once I have the information about a set and vulnerability associated with that asset, so what I'm going to do? I'm going to calculate the risk score and risk level. So I can give and more attention to that area. Okay, so what are the possibility that ransomware attack will happen? It's an 4. Okay, impact will be very much serious. So you are getting the risk score 4 into 5, 20. Risk level is critical. Okay, so like this, I will be calculating I will be going with a quantitative approach. Okay, getting a fair IDF, getting a fair number. So we can give and more attention to that area. Okay, now once you have the risk level, we will be giving the treatment plan as well. Okay, suggestion as well, how you can fix the problem. Okay, to fix the problem, do we have a dedicated control? Do we have dedicated policies for that? Yes, you can apply that. You can pick up the ISMS manual, look what is the problem, and apply that referred control over there. Okay, once the suggestion has been done, there will be a registry which has been maintained. We call it as a risk registry, and that will be monitored on a regular basis. Okay. Now, once we have created a treatment plan, what as an auditor, what will be my next step? My next step will be the report writing. Okay. The major part, the reporting part is very much important, because I need to explain this to the management. What is the actual problem is. I need to showcase in front of them. Okay. So you are going to explain each and everything in front of a management, and how you are going to do that with the help of the report, and what we are going to put in that report. These are the few basic things which we are going to put in that report. Okay. So what I have done, I have made the list. I first of all, the name of the organization where you have done the audit. The name of the organization is ABC Private Limited. When the audit has been started, audit has been started on June 16 and ended on June 18. Okay. What is the location? Location is Canada headquarters and some of the remote teams. Okay. Who all are your auditors? So Rahul is my lead auditor, followed by Priya, and the Robert are my associated, you can say, auditors. Okay, who are the team members? These are my team members for that audit, led by Rahul. Okay, followed by further, I'm going to give a description about the audit. Okay, so first is the executive summary. Okay, so this audit has been done for ABC Corporation. Specifically, we are doing an internal ISO 27001-2022 audit. Why? To verify the compliance, to evaluate the effectiveness of the implemented control. Okay, so this ISMS, we can say, this ISMS testing, or you can say this audit has been done, is been covering the whole organization, because for the scope, if you remember yesterday, we have created a scope document. So what we have considered? We have considered the whole organization. So definitely we are considering the whole organization. We will try to see what are the gaps are there. Okay. So you are going, once you have filled that executive summary over here, then we will move into the next stage. Scope and objective. What was your scope? Is the scope is limited, or is your scope has been considering the whole organization? So we are covering the whole organization. All operation, all system, person, process, softwares, okay, your infrastructure, HR, IT admin, yeah, can say different function which is coming under to that headquarter. We will be considering each and everything. That is what my scope is. Okay, even if there is any remote environment, you can consider that as well. Okay, so what scope? Again, we are going to mention the scope. What is the objective? Objective is just to verify whether you are being compliant with 2027,001 requirement or not. If there is any other legal requirement which you have been following, we are going to mention that as well. GDPR. GDPR has been properly aligned with your 27,001 or not. Okay, that will also come under to an objective. We are simply trying to identify the non-conformity or the opportunities of an, you can say, improvement with the 27,001. That is what the end goal is. Okay. Now, once the scope and objective has been filled, then methodology. What methodology you have chosen? Okay. So we have done the document review first. Okay. Then we have started collecting the evidence. Okay. Through interview, through observation. Okay. Through physical inspection, through record sampling, different approach. Okay. Apart from that, I evaluated the control. Okay. And we have took the help from a technical advisor as well for techniques, or you can say for testing of the technology. Okay, so this is what the approach we have took. Okay, so we have done the interview, we have gone through the walkthroughs, we have looked into the documents, we have looked into the samples. Okay, we have gone with the physical inspection as well. Okay, so this is what the methodology we had opted. Then the findings. Okay, give the list of all the findings. Okay, you can simply give you can say you can simply use the same record which we have created into the last slide. Okay, so the department IT HR department, there wasn't problem with the HR department. We have tested the HR department whether the awareness and training has been done. Yes, all the employees. If you remember yesterday, we have talked about this. Okay, we have tested the control, specifically 6.3 for the HR department. Awareness session has been done. Yes, over there we have checked that yes, there is an awareness session done after onboarding the employee on the third day, max to max. Okay, related to IT, information disposal. Okay, so we will be giving all that information, all that chart. You can paste it over here. Okay, so that is my detailed finding. Further to that, you are going to mention the opportunities of an improvement. Okay, do you feel so any opportunity for the improvement? Yes. There is no full implementation of the DMAC. There is no full implementation of the DKIM. Okay, there is no record of the digital record of the visitor tracking system. Okay, so these are the opportunity for the improvement you can further have into your organization. Okay, followed by, is there any non-conformity we have identified? Yes, there are certain non-conformity we have identified. Okay, you are going to list all those non-conformities over there with the justification, with the description. Okay, followed by the auditor comment. Okay, so in this, what I'm going to do, I am going to give the treatment plan. Okay, the treatment plan which we have prepared in the last, we can say in the last slide, the same thing we are going to give it over here. This is my recommendation. This is what I'm expecting. Okay, so as an auditor, I'm just giving you a recommendation that go ahead and implement the controls, which are your malware protection control, which are your secure coding control, okay, which are your screening policies, which are your cryptographic control. Okay, so these are general recommendation from my end. Go ahead and apply this control. Okay, now once the recommendation has been given, then the final conclusion. Okay, so you are going to conclude this audit. What is this audit is all about? So my final conclusion is that we have completed the audit. We have demonstrated the conformity for ISO 27001 requirement for that organization. There are few problems with it. There are few non-conformity which we have identified. These are the list of it. Okay, so once you are fixed, once the problem has been fixed, you are ready for the stage 2 or you are ready for your external audit. Okay, so we are giving an confidence to the stakeholders. But make sure we are fixing this problem as soon as possible. This is what my conclusion is. Followed by the report creator name. Who has created that report? The lead auditor. Who was the lead auditor? Rahul was the lead auditor. Okay. So that name followed by the date, and over there we will be concluding the report. Okay. So like this, we generally create the report. So this is again a recommendation from my end. Okay. It's totally optional. Nowadays, we have multiple can say templates as well available. You can use those template, or else if you are creating the report by your end. So these are the few things which you are going to mention in the report. And these are the general things. Okay. If you create any type of a report, not of an audit report, if you go with any type of a report, if you go with an VAPT report, the same thing we put it over there as well. Okay. Only there is certain terminology we have changed over here. We have changed this to a non-conformity over there. We keep it as a different we use a different terminology, but actually the report is almost similar to each and every assessment. Okay. So these are again, I'm saying these are my recommendation. Okay, which I generally use it for the audit. You can have your a separate audit report as well, or you can take and help from can say you can use the template as well, which generally used internally as well organization, or you can refer some of the tools as well, which is again giving you the again general recommendation for the report writing. Okay, but this information will be there, this details will be there in each and every report. Okay, executive summary, scope, methodology, detail finding, opportunity for the improvement, non-conformity, audit comment, recommendation, and conclusion. These are the few basic things which will be there in each and every report. Okay, so what we have seen, first we have created the methodology, we have decided the methodology, then we have evaluated. Okay, we have done the risk assessment, and based on that, we have come to a conclusion. Okay. Now, once the report has been done, report has been prepared. So what we are going to do, we are going to share this report. Okay. Now the question arises, to whom we are going to share this report? To the person who are available on the first meeting. Okay. So the person or the team who has attended the meeting on the day one, the stakeholder, the management, we are going to share this report with them. Okay. Apart from that, you are not going to share the report to the person who have interviewed, to whom you have interviewed. No, you are only going to share this report with the management. That's it. Okay. And based on that, we will take the feedback. We will go with the follow up. That is again an important task. What is the status of that? Can say recommendation. Okay. So what is the treatment plan you have prepared? Based on that, we will keep the, we can say we will be also into the loop. Okay. What is the status of that control? Whether what is the current status? Okay. Whether your control is partially implemented or fully implemented. Okay. So this is how you are going to conduct the audit. I had given you the basic idea how the audit is been done. Okay. How a project has been given as a project, how I will be doing an audit. Okay. So I guess so everyone got a fair idea. Okay, there are lots of and other things as well, which are we can say if we keep on deep diving, we will be exploring more and more things. As you guys are mentioning in between, there are only we are considering the assets, the physical asset. We are not considering a digital asset. So we will be considering all those things in the audit. Okay, so this list which I have prepared, which I have shown in front of you, these are the limited one. Just for an example.